You all right, babe?
The door was locked in the room. Yeah. And...
Okay, can you sit right here for me?
Bro, the opening itself is insane. Two daughters are literally leading police to their mother's body, and the way this starts feels way too calm for something this horrible. The first thing that stands out is not even the body, it's the silence. In a case like this, silence usually means somebody already knows the truth.
Is she alive?
No, she's not.
On a quiet April evening in the small city of DeRidder, Louisiana, police receive a terrifying 911 call. But what would shock the dispatcher is the eerie calmness of the caller.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I need to report a crime.
Hey, what's the address?
265 Northridge Drive, in DeRidder, Louisiana.
Stay on the line while I get DeRidder Police on with us.
Thank you.
And look at the line about the caller sounding calm. That is such a huge red flag. In real life, people usually panic in situations like this. But calmness in a crime scene often means the person talking is already controlling the story. When police get inside and the officer starts asking about the room, the kids, and the burning eggs, that small domestic detail makes the scene feel even creepier. It's like normal life and tragedy are happening in the same frame. That contrast is exactly why this case is so disturbing. The fact that 4 children are in the house changes everything for me. Because now, this is not just a murder scene, this is a childhood trauma scene. And the oldest daughter stepping in to guide the others to safety is honestly heartbreaking. She is doing the job adults should be doing. Now the police are still looking for the male caller, and that's where the investigation starts to shift from confusion to suspicion. Once they realize he's gone, the whole thing becomes a hunt. This is the moment the officers know someone didn't just disappear, someone ran. The neighbor footage is huge. A black truck leaving the house right before the 911 call. That's not a random detail, that's the first real thread in the case. Good investigations usually don't start with a confession, they start with a small clue nobody can ignore.
Here, I don't know if that was his truck. He usually drives a black truck. And then her husband's name is John Fish.
And then the best friend identifies the man connected to Ashley. Now, the case stops being anonymous. This is personal, this is domestic, and this is exactly the kind of case where police have to figure out not just who did it, but why the relationship got so dangerous.
Hi, I need to turn myself in to the police.
Okay.
I don't know how to do this.
Are you wanted? Do you have an active warrant?
No, I just committed a crime.
Okay, what crime did you commit?
I shot somebody.
Okay, where are you located?
I'm at Burke's Outlet in DeRidder. I'm in the parking lot, and I just am going to wait here to get picked up.
Okay, who did you shoot?
A woman.
Okay, what is her name?
Ashley Fish.
When the suspect himself calls to turn himself in, that's one of the most suspicious things possible. Because surrender can look like honesty, but it can also be a strategy. If somebody turns themselves in too early, too cleanly, police immediately ask, what is he trying to control before the evidence catches up? The search of his car and the fact that he's calm after a killing is wild. I always say this, panic can be shock, but calm can be calculation. And in this case, the calm feels more dangerous than emotional.
She's no longer with us. Mom's no longer with us, you know. She's an angel now. Yeah. The 6-year-old and the 4-year-old, they don't really know. They're kind of like, oh, she's an angel. They're going to talk a little bit about it.
Now, he starts telling his version and the self-defense story begins. That's where investigators have to slow everything down. Because once a suspect says she had a gun, the entire case shifts to evidence versus story. And now every detail has to be tested.
In the past, has ever felt like there was anybody in danger? Talking to my kids. Kids never tell me anything's going bad around the house, so I'm not really feeling too in it. And through all this time, you know, I text back, I'm not trying to get in y'all's drama. That's when she texts, he won't leave, I know. As soon as I got that, when I actually looked and seen that he's not leaving, I called. She's like, hello. And the first thing I go, what's going on? He's mad because he's got to leave. I said, are my kids okay? Are my kids safe? She said, yes. Because I wasn't.
The gun being linked to Ashley creates a temporary complication, but not a free pass. That's the key part. A gun belonging to the victim does not automatically prove the suspect is innocent. It just means police have to go deeper and see whether the scene matches the story. Now the detectives go to John, and honestly that part hits hard. He's not just a witness, he's the ex-husband, the father of 4 kids, and the person who has to hear that the mother of his children is dead. That's the kind of moment where the investigation becomes human, not just procedural. And the text messages are brutal. because now we can see Ashley in real time trying to understand what's happening. She can sense danger before it fully arrives, and that makes the whole thing so much more painful. In true crime, those final messages always feel like the last warning nobody could stop. This is where the relatives start confirming that they never trusted Tyler. And that matters because those warnings weren't random. When multiple family members all see the same red flags, police start understanding that the relationship was already damaged long before the shot was fired.
Yeah, obviously
I think I need to tell what happened. I left about 6 p.m., a little around 6 p.m. I'm not even quite sure when it was when I called the actual police department. I called 911. What I had left it as, there were 4 children in the house and a woman.
Now the interrogation begins, and this is where real police work starts to show. The detective isn't just asking what happened. He's building pressure, watching Tyler's body language, and trying to see where the story cracks. That's how killers get caught, not by one big mistake, but by 100 small ones. When Tyler starts talking about feeling trapped, I'm immediately suspicious. That's a classic defense move. Turn yourself into the victim before the evidence gets too close. But then the messages and love letters destroy that excuse because suddenly it looks like he wasn't trapped. He was choosing. And now the interrogation gets more personal. He starts talking about being hit with shoes and slippers, and the way he describes it tells us a lot about his resentment. This isn't just about one fight. It's about the way he saw the relationship and the anger he carried into it. The custody rule angle is a major motive detail. He knew Ashley wasn't supposed to have overnight guests, and he was ready to expose that. That means he had leverage, and leverage turns into power in a toxic relationship. That's important because crimes like this rarely happen out of nowhere. When he starts describing Ashley loading the gun, the whole case gets darker. Because now he is trying to frame the scene as instant chaos. But investigators don't trust dramatic wording alone. They want to know what the body, the phone, and the wounds say. The fight for survival line sounds strong, but it's still just a line until the evidence agrees. And that is the exact tension of this video. Tyler wants it to sound like panic, but the detective is waiting for science to tell the real story. 2 minutes of struggle is a very specific claim. That's enough time for a lot of things, and detectives know that. But it's also enough time for someone to build a lie that sounds just detailed enough, so now everything depends on whether the physical evidence backs up those 2 minutes. And this is where the investigation gets serious. Ashley's phone's still in her hand. The hair in the barrel, the skull fracture pattern, those are the kinds of facts that don't care about a defendant's story. They just tell the truth. And the truth here is brutal. Once those findings come in, Tyler's self-defense claim starts collapsing fast. The detective comes back in with a completely different energy because now he knows the scene has given him the answer. That's the moment in true crime when the killer starts losing control. What's scary here is that Tyler's tone changes from confident to defensive. He starts realizing he's not sounding like a survivor anymore. He's sounding like a man being cornered by his own words. And that is usually when suspects either confess or shut down. The detective keeps pressing, and Tyler starts slipping into blame. That's another red flag. Because when a suspect can't stay consistent, police know they're not hearing a memory, they're hearing a defense strategy. Now he's saying the whole relationship was out of hand, and that wording matters. He's not just talking about a fight. He's trying to make the whole relationship sound unstable so the shooting can sound accidental. That's the exact kind of framing detectives are trained to dismantle. And when he starts sounding overwhelmed, that doesn't automatically help him. Sometimes guilty people break because the truth is heavy. Sometimes they break because they know the evidence is winning. In this case, it feels like both. This is where the detective knows the story is almost over. The evidence and Tyler's explanation are no longer matching. And once that happens, the case is basically moving toward the finish line. You can feel the wall closing in on him. The final confrontation is powerful because now the detective has enough to challenge everything. The science says one thing, Tyler says another, and when those two collide, the self-defense story just doesn't survive. Once Tyler realizes he can't control the narrative anymore, he starts shutting down. That's a classic interrogation ending. The truth has gotten too close, the pressure is too high, and the suspect would rather stop talking than keep losing ground. By this point, the audience already knows the direction of the case. The police have connected the vehicle, The relationship, the phone evidence, the wound pattern, and the confession. That's how the case gets solved, not by one clue, but by all the clues agreeing at once. And the worst part is what this means for the kids. 4 children lost their mother and their lives split into before and after that night. That's the part that stays with you long after the investigation ends. The charges tell the official ending, but the emotional ending is much heavier. This wasn't just a murder. It was a family disaster, a betrayal, and a trauma the children will carry forever. So the case closes the way most strong investigations do. Evidence beats narrative. Tyler doesn't get to win by sounding confident. The physical facts, the witness statements, and the forensic details all pull in the same direction. And once that happens, the truth is no longer a theory, it's a conviction.